Oh, sorry. We're live. Hey guys, hi. It's Samantha Studebaker Carl here, broadcasting to you from beautiful Southwest Georgia. Welcome to the Saturday Morning Mastermind. I'm your host, and I'm here with my good friends Dan and Donna and Julia and Catherine, and we are talking about the book Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life. See if you can read that, or maybe somebody else can hold up the picture. There you go. Dan's got it. We got a couple of people. Awesome. Thanks, guys. And we are on Chapter 9. And in this book, it talks about the Tao Te Ching, and we are talking about verse 9 of the Tao Te Ching. And our topic for today is how to know when enough is enough. But before we get started, I want to give my friends an opportunity to introduce themselves, and I want those of you who are watching to introduce yourself on our page. So jump over to SaturdayMorningMastermind.com. That'll bring you over to our live blog post page, or our live video on our blog post, and you can scroll down to the bottom and add a comment down there in the comment section. Just let us know that you're hanging out with us, and as we go through this conversation, we want you to add your thoughts too. So so go ahead and guys, introduce yourselves, and then we'll jump into this conversation.
Okay, well, hi everyone. This is Julia Cologne, owner of ClaimYourPersonalPowers.com, and I'm very, very excited to be here. It's so nice to see you guys again. I know I was busy the last couple of weeks, but I did miss you, and I am so happy to be here and discuss this verse with you. So I'll take it. The next person can take it.
Good morning. It's Catherine Clement from Boulder, Colorado. And it's gorgeous here, and looking forward to this discussion. We're going to miss Sandy, but we have a lot of input from her because she wrote our blog post this week and did an excellent job. Thank you so much, Sandy. So thank you for everyone who's here or who will watch us in the future.
Hi, Dan Sisik here. I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada, yeah, that was an awesome blog post. Yeah, this week for me, enough was enough. I'm kind of there. I'm feeling the effects of it. So this was very timely for me. So I'm looking forward to hear what gets brought out in the discussion today.
Yes, good morning. Hello, everyone. Glad to see you guys back. Donna from Raleigh, North Carolina. Yes, she did a great job on that. Had a chance to read it. Yes, yes.
Awesome, guys. Yes, Sandy did an awesome job on this blog post, and recently we've been kind of taking turns writing for the blog, which has been nice. And Julie, you kind of missed out because you haven't been here, but we're going to ask you if you'd like to write for us as well. But anybody else who is out there, Karen, welcome. We're glad to have you. If you'd be interested in writing for us, we're definitely going to be taking posts here as we go forward, not just from me all the time, right? The more that we all kind of work together and share our thoughts and experiences, the more everybody is able to grow. So, okay, so let's get into this conversation this morning. Who wants to read the verse 9 of the Tao Te Ching this morning?
Okay, I'll read it. The ninth verse is, to keep on filling is not as good as stopping. Overfilled, the cupped hands drip. Better to stop pouring. Sharpen a blade too much, and its edge will soon be lost. Fill your house with jade and gold, and it brings insecurity. Puff yourself with honor and pride, and no one can save you from a fall. Retire when the work is done. This is the way of heaven.
Thank you, Julia. So what thoughts came up for you guys this week on this verse? Who wants to go out? Who wants to jump out there first?
Well, can I?
Go ahead, Donna.
Mine's going to be short, Dan, because I may have the pop up. But I don't know, has anybody heard the saying, Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall? I don't know. That just came up to me when I read that verse, and I heard that kind of like in grammar grades, and I'm thinking, okay, I don't know. Um, just thought somebody might want to help me out with that one.
I'm not sure about the Humpty Dumpty part, how it fits in here, Donna, but I'll throw my stuff what kind of. There were a couple of things that really jumped out at me, but in the first part of the verse, to keep on feeling is not as good as stopping. And I likened that now, right now, the picture that came to mind as we reread it was, um, like filling your gas tank. And if you don't stop when it gets to, being full, stuff backs up and kind of gushes out over, outside of your car and onto the side of your car and onto the ground and stuff. And then at that point, it becomes wasteful. Isn't useful. It evaporates and becomes nothing, and it doesn't get put to use the way it's supposed to. I think sometimes we get so busy on filling our lives with so much things going on. I'm a big, um, I guess, person that has done that lately. I've got so many things going on that it has really started to run me ragged, and I'm feeling the effects of it. And so, when reading this, that's why I said this enough is enough. Kind of really hit me. It's like, as I stated in my little response, when do I find me time, or when do I find time to let myself kind of refuel and energize and be able to go out and tackle the things I need to, maybe by stopping and slowing down. It seems like when I do that, I can get more things done because then I kind of reprioritize things and go out and take care of those things that really need to be and cut some of the other stuff out. And I think I need to look at that and look at that a little bit more, and so that way I can go back to balance, which is part of what this book is all about. And so that's kind of the one main thing that's um, really popped up for me.
Yes, I'm gonna agree with you on that, Dan. This verse took me back to the last two blog posts that I created, and it was finding time to really sit down and smell the roses. Everything is not work, 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 work. Everything is not about pleasing everybody else. There has to be a time where we as individuals have to look at ourselves and really take care of ourselves, and rejuvenating our mind, our energy, our body. And it's going to require us to move ourselves out of whatever situation we're in and just find that time. Even we all have busy schedules, but I think when we don't take time for ourselves, what are we really focusing on? Is it on others? How does it affect us? Do we sit down, and when we finally lay down in the bed, are we thinking about what we have to do the next day? What are we doing productive in our lives that we can actually really smell the roses? It's about, I took it as being mindful of the present moment. Um, I remember when I started to become mindful. I remember one time I went to Popeyes, and my mom really, really liked Popeyes, and so I, decided to stop. And I bought chicken from there, and what I did was actually smell the chicken, and instead of just eating it to eat it, I smelled it, and I can actually smell the spices that were in the chicken. And I really enjoyed it, and I feel like if I didn't take the time to smell it, I would just gobbled it up and not even, realize what was in it, how good it smelled. That's just an example, but I took it as taking time for yourself, like Dan had said. It has to be a priority in our lives, and enjoying the things that we like to do. There has to be, even if it's 20 minutes, just to meditate and relax the mind and rejuvenate the mind. It's very, very important, because you as an individual matter. We play all these roles. We play worker, we play wife, we play mother, we play caretaker, we play housekeeper, we play chef. And who are we as an individual, as a person, as a soul, as a spirit? Where do we find time to regenerate those very important aspects of who we are as one? I hope that made sense.
Welcome, Jason. We're glad to have you back on with us.
Oh, hey, Samantha. How are you? Great to be here again, finally. Julie, I was just listening to what you were saying, and that is so totally true. And it's so hard sometimes to, find the time for the things we, need to reconnect with, the part of us that we love and feel like is going through, getting us to where we want to go. Case in point, I haven't been able to get on here for the past couple of weeks because I've been burning the candle at both ends and working and helping out, and I've been working every day, and there's like no weekends in my universe right now. It's just there's no particular day, and so I keep forgetting when it's Friday and they ask me, oh, so you'll be here to work on tomorrow, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. And then I would get home and I realize, oh no, wait, today's Friday, and I want to be on the mastermind tomorrow. So, and I actually did that yesterday too, but I called them back last night and said, no, I can't do it. I got something I'm doing this morning. So, well, yeah, it can be difficult because especially when you're doing the work like we're doing here, and opportunities start to pop up, and we have a hard time saying no to them because we're so excited about the opportunities. So really great to be here, and just looking forward to hearing more of what everyone's saying. Great points, Julia.
Karen posted a comment on the page. Welcome, Karen. Thanks, Karen. Let me jump over here and read it real quick, and then I think I saw you starting to come out, didn't you, Catherine? Okay, let me read it real quick. Hopefully I'm sounding okay. Karen says, filling, stopping, overfilled, sharpening, insecurity, puffing, needing saving, retiring, the way of heaven. This is certainly spot on for me. I related it more to my approach on my computer, which is really just an extension of my office business approach prior to using the computer. It can pretty much be summed up in a hoarder mentality to my mind, which seems more there's never enough when I look at it. I learned some things about myself yesterday listening to why we may find it hard to forgive. I see application here. We may tend to bank evidence for ourselves to justify why we are holding a grudge or bad feelings for someone that can be ourselves. I found a big ouch there as I recognized how much I have a perceived need to have more than enough evidence to justify my thinking. How restful to consider simply enough is enough. Absolutely, Karen. I know that we all have that kind of sometimes, well, like with the computers, talking about that, I can't tell you how many times I've been like doing stuff on my computer and I just keep going and going and going, and then I realize, oh, here it is 11 or 12 o'clock at night, and I forgot to stop for dinner, and I forgot to feed the dog, and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh my God, okay, I gotta slow down and get back into my lifetime instead of my focus on what I'm doing time. But that's what happens sometimes, right? Is we just get going, and we forget that we need to stop, like what Julie was saying about taking that time. I love how you mentioned the smelling the chicken. That's something that I don't know how I got into the habit of it, but no matter what it is that I eat, before I eat it or before I take that first bite, I always smell it. And I don't know if it just kind of helps. I don't know what it is, but I like to smell my food. I like to, exactly what you were saying, Julia, about smelling the spices and smelling all of the flavors that I'm getting ready to put in my mouth, and maybe that helps me slow down. I don't know. Go ahead and jump out, Catherine.
That's awesome. I agree with both of you, and I am definitely a mindful eater. I'm very I eat with a lot of intention, with a lot of gratitude for where that food came from, and for I eat for everybody. I don't know if it works or not. It's probably just something I have in my brain. I don't know, but you know, when I eat, I just ask that the food nourish and heal my body, and all those who hunger, you know, fill them as well. And so I kind of eat for the world, but thankfully I don't eat a whole lot. But I definitely take time to be mindful. I try to do that with everything, actually, whatever I'm doing. But it's interesting how we all kind of got the same sort of thing from this verse, because I was feeling that too immediately. You know, recently, I think I shared with you guys the money energy paycheck system. Didn't I share that with you guys, or over in the community or something? So I've been doing that every night, and it's where you write your gratitude, what you're grateful for that day, and you pay yourself for different things that you do throughout the day. So I have a whiteboard, and I just keep track there of the things that I'm doing, and then you actually write yourself a check at night. And it's pretty cool because I found some old checks, and so I'm actually writing myself a check every night. And one of the things that I found I have to pay myself for in order to do it is to take time for me. Otherwise, 11 o'clock at night, like you, I'm still, you know, doing the business or whatever. And so I said, okay, well, how am I gonna take time? You know, how am I gonna take time to walk? How am I gonna take time to do this or do that? So I just pay myself for that, and then try to be mindful. Like, I had the best time yesterday doing dishes and listening to Pink Floyd. I was just loving it, you know. And so you can be working, and I still considered that me time, because I was just in the present moment and really enjoying it. And but if you do get burnt, you know, your activities, if you're still up at 2 a.m. on the computer, you know, and you've got 40 tabs up, probably your mind is so scattered you're not really getting anything done at that point anyway. So it's kind of like that, the cupped hands overfilling. Your activities become wasteful because they're not focused anymore. So, but I think it's great that we all kind of picked up on how we're not taking enough time for ourselves. And well, it is for us because we're all building businesses and things, but I mean, just like rest time, just zone out time. And I'm someone who I sort of meditate constantly throughout the day. I don't know, well, I probably shouldn't go into all that, but anyway, that's what I do. I'll let someone else step out.
Okay, I wanted to share an experience where enough is enough, like Samantha said. And sometimes tragic situations are going to cause you to say enough is enough. And when I hear that phrase and I think about my personal life, it takes me back to where my mother was diagnosed with colon cancer. And I saw how she transformed to where people who weren't positive in her life were gone. The things that she wanted to do all the years, she started to do. And I think she got to that point where enough is enough, because she had to take care of herself. And so she enjoyed the rest of the time that she had in this physical world. And through her experiences and through her transformation, I learned the importance and how precious our life is. And it's okay to care for others. It's okay to care about how they think. But this is a really touchy subject for me. But you have to care about yourself too. You have to be a priority. And I think that my mother's death and the life that she lived here. So instead of me saying, oh my God, my mom is not here, you know, and I miss her so much, which I do, but I choose to celebrate the life that I had with her and get to an understanding that she's not the only one. We are all going to be faced with death. But what do we do in the meantime with our lives here in this present world? Because I truly believe that when we pass on, we're going to have unlimited time. Here, we don't have unlimited time. So what do we do with it? And so I choose to celebrate my mother's life, the times that I had with her, the moments that I've had with her. It changed me to where I left my job and I'm with my family. That is top priority for me right now. Raising my little ones, spending time with my older ones, being with my husband, doing everything that I have always wanted to do. So I'm not at the stage now where I am trying to please others. I'm doing what I love to do, and it makes me a better person. I'm a better mom, a better wife, a better everything, a better housekeeper, a better cook, you know, all of this stuff. It makes me better because I understood what my priorities were. And it's unfortunate that it took the death of my mother for her to learn that and for me to learn that too. But it's all good. It's all good. I learned something very positive that changed my life. And I live in the present moment. I try my hardest to do it. It's not to say that I'm perfect or that I don't care about what other people think, but I have priorities now and I have boundaries, and I'm just not going to let anyone take that from me.
I was gonna jump out. That was some good stuff, Juliana. Good points, because I've lost my grandmother about 10 years ago, and she was the most important person in my life for me. So I understand where you're coming from with that, and the sense of loss, but also knowing that, you know, I will see her again at some point. So that's what keeps me going. But I wanted to go back to another point that kind of hit me in the book, was from the verse, sharpen a blade too much and its edge will soon be lost. And that kind of, at first I kind of like, well, you know, you keep sharpening it, she'll get sharper. But it also made sense that sometimes you can do it too much. I think sometimes we try to sharpen and get ourselves so sharp with what we're doing in our businesses or in our life or our jobs and stuff, and trying to prove and make ourselves, I guess, in a way more valuable in a sense to whoever we're dealing with, that we forget that sometimes we can get too sharp and we're doing more damage that way than helping, rather than, like I said, kind of resting and being there and letting things naturally progress. And that's the other part I got out of this verse, that, you know, sometimes I think I'm pushing myself so hard to know the latest things, this, that, and the other thing, and what am I really accomplishing? I'm not learning all the things I need to learn, and therefore it also kind of keeps me from growing in the areas I need to grow for my business, for my life, and for moving forward in some other areas too. And that's just kind of another part that I got out of this verse.
I think that's a good point, Dan. And then the other aspect of that is that, you know, I see a lot of people that will, you know, they want to know everything first before taking that action, and so they're, you know, constantly, like you said, sharpening the edge of the sword, if you will, or getting all the information, more and more and more and more and more information, and never actually taking action on that information or putting that knowledge into action. And I think that's a big part of it too. So thanks for sharing that. Anybody else want to jump out on that? Or should we talk about?
I have lots of enough is enough. I'm sure we all have many enough is enough moments. Oh, there's Chris. He's back. Come on out, Chris.
Well, maybe not. You know, I experienced a time a while back where, you know, a number of years ago. Am I sounding okay? I look choppy in my video. Okay. All right, cool. You know, a number of years ago we had similar to kind of what happened with Julia, only not death wise. And I know what you're saying there, Julia, as far as losing somebody and realizing you missed out on all this time because you were so busy. But my situation was a little bit different. We had I had my pet salon. My husband had a trucking company. We owned, our house. We had a rental house. And we had all these employees, and we had, truck payments and trailer payments and car payments and 10 million different things going on, and trying to and raising 2 kids and having them get to all their activities and all these things happening. And I had a number of times where I'm just sitting there where working all week long hours, and then on the weekend working all weekend long trying to accomplish the things for my husband's business. And I remember thinking a few times of, oh my gosh, I just wish I had a normal job. I just go to work, come home, and relax, right? And what's funny though is that we kept pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing, and at one point everything did fall apart, and it was because I think that we were trying to do too much all at once. And it's funny how kind of the world sometimes just smacks you in the face, or the universe smacks you in the face and says, okay, that is enough, you've had enough, and guess what? Now you're not going to do any of that anymore. You're going to do something completely different, whether you like it or not. But that was something that happened for me.
That brings up a great point that I was just thinking about, Samantha, with work. We want to grow. We want to, make progress in every parts of our life, and so we're accepting of these, new opportunities, and we push ourselves to be open to more, to doing more, and to understanding more. And but what it seems to me is sometimes we, like, say, just in a simple example of going to work, and we want to provide the best service that we can. And we get to the end of the day, and we're about ready to pack up, and then someone has something that they want, done real quick. It's always real quick, right? And 3-4 hours later, we realize, oh goodness, I've put aside all this other stuff, and now I'm behind in my own own stuff, but I've helped this other person out. And at least for me, I've gone through much of my life. Overextending myself for others, and thinking that it would benefit me even more than the regular work that I had done throughout the day. But in fact, it seemed like it's actually less valuable in a way, because it detracts from what I'm trying to do for myself in my off time. And then what I found is a lot of people find that they're in their minds, and the way they perceive things is that oh well, this person is available, and I can push them further, and or maybe sometimes they think that oh well, this person isn't has no backbone, and he's not, and I can steamroll him, and they really shouldn't have that view, because in reality I'm doing it for them, and they should be understanding that, hey, I'm putting off part of my life to help you out, but I don't mind it, because that's how much I care about you. But with different people in your life, you may not know what they're thinking, and they might be thinking, oh, this guy's a pushover, or this girl's a pushover, and I can but they don't really realize the sentiment behind it. And so when do you recognize that you're going beyond your what fuel you have inside for yourself to get these outside things you need, and actually starting to dip into the energy you need to rejuvenate yourself, and it's actually, I think now what I've come to understand is that, it's better to call it quits, for you to call it quits, and not let someone else to say, okay, well, I'll let all right, your work's done. No, say, oh, my work's done for a day, I'll come back and finish up tomorrow, or whenever it's good, but my work's done, and case in point, last night yesterday I worked all day, got done around 5, and I got a call, and they're like, oh, do you have any spare time? You can come over and and put together some furniture for me. I'm like, I haven't even eaten since breakfast, you know, and like, oh well, I'll buy you some food. And it's like, okay, well that solves that problem. But now I realize I'm pushing the envelope there, and I got most of the furniture put together, and there was still another piece there, and it's like almost 9 o'clock at night, and the person has to go off to run an errand, and I had to stop them real quick and say, no, look, I'm going home. I come back another time and get this other piece of furniture done, but I'm going to go home now. And I thought maybe they'd give me some guff about it, but they're perfectly fine with it. And I think in doing so, I sort of set a limit and also let them know that my time is just as valuable as theirs, even though they're paying me my time. Like in your example there, Catherine, we have to sort of have a value on our own time, and it should be priceless, really. I mean, we should really covet that time and know that when we give it away, we're not going to get it back. So man, this is really good stuff. I'm enjoying the conversation. Thanks.
Those are great points, Jason. It's easy to get steamrolled, as you put it. That's a funny word, but it's easy, and we want to help everyone, of course. And how do you know the difference? I think you know the difference by how it feels in your heart when you're doing it. If you're kind of resentful when you're doing it, then you probably should have said no. And that's one of the things I think, and I've shared this before, I won't go through the whole thing, but I was working 3 jobs, and I was just, I don't want to use that term, the term that just came in my head. Anyway, I was just full steam ahead, and just work, and God said enough is enough and threw me off the back of a horse, So it's, if you don't stop, something will stop you. If you're going too far in the wrong direction, not that it's really a wrong direction, but if you take anything to excess, too much, Spirit will bring you back into balance, not always in the way that you expect or ever imagine, but still it's Spirit bringing you back into balance. And I've had so many enough is enough moments in my life. When I went to college, my kids, we were barely eating, and I was just like, enough is enough. I have to do something. I have to make a major change here. I can't just keep doing the same thing over and over expecting different results, right? So I went to college. Didn't know how I was going to do that, but it all worked out. And after the accident, after my fall, and after my surgery and stuff, I knew that I had to pick a new way of doing things, because I wasn't going to be able to return to what I was doing before. So a lot of growth comes out of these challenging times, these enough is enough moments. And Karen, I wanted to, and I think I've mentioned this before, but I'm not sure exactly. I've mentioned Byron Katie's work. I think Byron Katie's work is so amazing with our thought processes, because people make themselves miserable with their thoughts. It's not what's happening in their life, it's their thoughts about what's happening in their life. That's why this book is Change Your Thoughts, Change Your Life, because literally, beliefs are just thoughts, thought over and over again. So even if you're being driven by beliefs, you can still change your thoughts, and it will change your beliefs. And if you are having trouble changing your thoughts, then Byron Katie's work is excellent to help you inquire about those, because it's not almost always, it's 100% of the time, if you're blaming somebody else for something, or a condition for your unhappiness, or whatever it is, even the most horrible of things and the most horrible of emotions, if you do self-inquiry with her 4 questions and turn it around, you'll always see where you need to grow from it. You know, you'll always see how it's something being mirrored at you. And it's hard sometimes to see that, because we just get going and going and going and going and going, and we have to have that, what do they call that, interrupt? The people that speak in front of large crowds, they do something called something interrupt, or, and you know, something that gets your attention.
Pattern interrupt.
Pattern interrupt, there you go. Yeah, so, you know, sometimes spirit has to do a pattern interrupt and wake you up a little bit, because we can just go in excess the wrong direction sometimes, and it's not moderation and balance will always get you further.
I think that's a good reminder. Oh, go ahead, Donna, jump in.
Well, I mean, you know, the thought process, like I said, when I first came on, you guys probably thought that was kind of a joke, but exactly what came up in my spirit, because in the fairy tales of our early years, if you think about some of the things, never heard about no Humpty Dumpty. If you go out there and Google it, I just did, but I never questioned, where did the Humpty Dumpty fairy tale come from? Where did that come from? You know, enough is enough. It's simple. Our world has gotten just so crazy, just so overwhelmed, and I really see our world coming back to a merge, and just like the little fairy tale, our world is saying enough is enough, and hey, too much of anything is not good for us. So that's my final thought on that one today, guys.
I did want to mention something about the Humpty Dumpty thing, Donna. I forgot that you had said that at the beginning. Somebody else said something, and it sent my mind going in another direction. But I think that this part in the verse where it talks about puff yourself with honor and pride, and no one can save you from a fall. that was the part that, you know, when you said the Humpty Dumpty thing. But I think that goes right back to what Catherine was just saying about. You know, the universe or spirit will let you know when it's enough, whether you like it or not. You know, just like, you know, how many times have we heard about people who are just going, and then all of a sudden they have a heart attack, you know? And I was kind of concerned that was going to happen with my husband, because, you know, a few years ago he was working, it was crazy hours, 70, 80 hours a week. I mean, he was going from, you know, 6 o'clock in the morning until 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night every single freaking day. I mean, even on Sundays, I'm like, what are you doing? You know? And, you know, and I finally was like, you've had enough. I had to tell him, you know, you had enough. You got to stop this. And that was when we kind of made a break from what we were doing and decided to go RVing and whatnot for a while. And now we've had a break, and he's ready to go back at it again, which is fine, but I'm hoping that maybe this time around that it won't be so go crazy hours like he was doing. And you know, because I was really concerned. He was stressing himself out, and like Jason was saying previously, you know, somebody says, hey, can you do this? And he'd be like, yeah, I'm on it, you know, every little thing. And he was going. And you know, I definitely did not want an ugly outcome with that. But yeah, go ahead. Somebody else knows now.
Wow.
I wanted to go over something, a passage in the book, or a paragraph in the book. And it states, ego wants you to gather more and more rewards for your actions. If you're in a state of loving appreciation in each of your present moments, you're letting go of the absurd idea that you're here to accumulate rewards and merit badges for your efforts. Seek the pleasure in what you're doing rather than how it might ultimately benefit you. From what I got from that, and from my own personal experience, that when I love what I'm doing and I'm actually enjoying what I'm doing, time, nothing else would matter at that moment. In a sense that I was, how would I put it? It wasn't as stressful as doing something you don't like doing. like when I was working, there were certain parts of my job that I did enjoy, and I did so much better at it than the things that I didn't enjoy. And so that's when the review comes up, and then you get all these, critics and, criticism and so forth. But when I was actually enjoying what I was doing when I first started this, I would get calls from family members, from friends, saying things like, "Oh, now you don't got no time for nobody. Oh, now I have to make an appointment with you." And it was like, okay, it's unfortunate that you feel that way, because this is what I like, and I'm not going to apologize for it. It's not to say I don't care about you, but it's to say that I'm enjoying what I'm doing and I'm respecting my time. They will come around and respect that also. Because I believe that when you respect yourself and you stand in conviction to what you believe and what you want to do, those that love you will come around. Misery likes company. So if they can't have misery with you, they're going to find somebody else to be miserable with. So that's what I've learned out of this. And so when I was reading that paragraph, I was just like blown away, because it took me back to when I first started this and I was getting these calls, and I'm like, listen, I love you and everything, and it's unfortunate you feel that way, but I have to do this, and I need you to respect that. And once I was able to speak with them and let them know how important this was to me, I got that respect. It wasn't in a sense like, okay, let me stop this and let me take care of this person. It's, once again, what's important to you. And it's not about ego. It's not about, monetary gain or anything. It was for me. And so that's what I wanted to say.
Good for you, Julia. And and I think that that's something that a lot of people struggle with, is they are concerned about what the other people in their life are going to think, particularly if you have been the person who is just always doing, and picking up the pieces of everybody else's lives and problems, and just being there in every aspect for everybody else, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I've had it, I have to take some me time, and then you have the fallout afterwards, right? The people that are upset with you for that. But I think it's important that you have to stop, and you have to take time for yourself, and you just have to do that, and then the other people, yeah, they're going to be upset for a while, but eventually they're going to come around, and when they do, they're going to respect you more, like you were saying. But I think the other thing is that maybe they will realize in themselves that, oh, well, maybe I can do this for myself too. And of course, if they don't, they go on and they, like you said, they'll find the misery that they need to find to be with. But I think that when you do that for yourself, you set a good example for everyone else as well.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to chime in on both your points because actually this week, I think it was Wednesday, I actually called into work. I actually was at the point where I needed a day to myself. Now, granted, when I was at home, I still did some work here at home for something else I'm doing, helping a friend with some stuff. But I was more relaxed. I just put on my headset and just had my music blasted in my ear, and I was much more relaxed and much more comfortable, and I didn't feel stress. And it was weird how much I needed that day not to be in that environment at work, at my job, and just to really kind of just be able to de-stress, so to speak, because I could really feel it starting to really build up in me. And it's funny, my body is what kind of lets me know that. I can feel it in my body, and I'm learning to pay attention to that more. So it was interesting to hear you both point out those things, because this week I actually listened to myself, and even though I knew there was things I had to do, I was behind at work, there were things, I'm like, that will take care of itself when I come back. I need this day, and it was a day I really needed.
Good for you, Dan. I'm glad you did that. We really, but I agree with everything everybody's saying, but there's also a time, at least for me, sometimes if somebody asks me to do something and they're really in need, and I can feel that, I can feel that it's genuine, because you can tell the difference if somebody's just trying to take advantage of your time or if somebody's truly in need. You can feel that desperation in their energy. And it's amazing to me how when I come upon that situation, regardless of what my schedule is, if I will make time in that moment for that person to help them, somehow I get some extra minutes to do what I needed to get done anyway. Somehow the universe kind of takes care of me like that. They'll say, okay, well, if you'll take a moment out of your time to help this person, we're going to help speed up the next 6 things that you have to get done today. Or maybe they're just showing me that actually helping somebody in the moment like that who's truly in need takes better priority than some of the stuff I had on my list anyway, and that's true sometimes too. I don't buck against reality much. Reality is what it is. However we got to it in the moment, you can say you created it, or you can say that it showed up, that obviously God creates everything, but however you want to look at it, reality is what it is in the moment. And if you're bucking against that, like a bucking horse, against a rider, if you're just bucking against what already is, you're wasting a lot of time and energy. And you can make yourself really miserable, whether you want it to be better, you want it to be worse, you want it to be whatever. It is what it is. And so if you don't buck against that, if you just say, okay, even if you're miserable in that situation, if you can still just be open and ask, okay, what are the possibilities here, or how do I get out of this situation, instead of and I do this too, so I speak to myself. You always say what you most need to hear. Sometimes you get in those situations where there's this little sticker thing on Facebook that has this rabbit like hitting his head against the wall, and sometimes you feel like that. You're just hitting your head against the wall, and those are the moments, if you can remember to just ask the universe for some help there, and then listen instead of trying to put your mind in there and figure it out. You're always led to what you need to do next. Sometimes I just don't know what I need to do next. Maybe my plan has been totally blown to smithereens. I was going to do this, and this, and something happened, and I can't go there. So rather than have to formulate a new plan all the time, I usually just ask, okay, what's the next right thing to do? And how best can I serve now? What can I do now to help someone? So I think Spirit's very generous with giving us time when we help people who are truly in need. I understand what you're saying, Jason, about those people that just take advantage. And having a generous heart, you do attract people that, it's almost like, serving makes us feel so good. I think that's our natural nature, is serving others. So that makes us feel so good. But then, like we said before, when we get too much in one direction, we're only serving others. I mean, we are serving ourselves by serving others, but sometimes we do have to take that true, because we live in a vessel here. It's our spirits that are wanting to serve so much, but we have a vessel, a body that we have to tend to. And like you said, Samantha, we'll wind up at 11 o'clock at night. We haven't had supper. Dan, I think you mentioned that too, or Jason, you were talking about that. Here it is. I haven't even eaten all day. So we have, it's that balance again. How do we take time for ourselves and nourish ourselves? That's why I think mindful eating is so important, because if you don't do anything else mindful, if you can at least take that time to be grateful, to let the energy of that food actually do something in your body. For years, for 20 years as an RN, I ate on the run. I can remember actually coding a child and trying to eat at the same time because it had been however many hours that I had, days that I had eaten. So you're always on the run. I think that's part of the problem with obesity, actually, because people eat mindlessly. They don't even know that they've eaten, so how can their stomach doesn't feel full because they don't even remember that they ate because they were driving and talking to somebody on the phone and eating all at the same time. We're horrible multitaskers. When it comes down to it, we think we're multitasking, but we're really only doing one thing at a time. So you can be mindful in your actions, whatever it is. And I believe you can assign intent to any action, and it works just as well as prayer, because we know from quantum physics that when your attention goes to something, it completely changes the way that it reacts. So do a lot of intention work, especially in those enough is enough moments.
I like that, Catherine, and do that intention work in advance so that we can remember our intentions when we're inundated with these questions or opportunities or however you want to look at them, obstacles. But we really have to do that work with intentions and meaning, and putting emphasis and energy and emotion behind the things that we want to come to be in our life, so that when there's all this going on and we're about to get sucked into something else, our intentions are fortified by our beliefs and our feelings, and they're at the top of our mind, so we use that as a gauge as to whether or not we can participate further in what other people want us to do. Yeah, definitely the intention stuff needs to be, worked on beforehand and continuously, like what you're saying, if you're constantly meditating or, constantly thinking of things in that, along that line, then that should help. But I agree with you completely. Yeah. It talks in here also about a little bit about our being, well, about how the media and how about we're constantly being inundated by all the stuff around us, smells and sights and videos and pictures, and everything's, taking up our time. So we do need to be aware of that, aware of, how much time we want to give to that during the day, because you can almost not avoid it, And I was just thinking the other day, we're taught to, that we have free will as when we're born, and we have free will as we live. But I mean, more and more it seems to me like we have to. It's not free. We have to fight and claw our ways to have will of any kind, because the world just seems to want to push and pull you in directions that aren't really what we want, and it's very difficult sometimes to say no to these things, and sometimes we're not even aware that we're going one way, because like they do those pattern interrupts that will stop you in your tracks and make you go, wait, hold on, and then all of a sudden they'll fill your brain with something, and hey, you should be coming here and eating a burger with us, or come out and have a drink with us, or sit home and watch this television show tonight, and so they spend so much money and so much time on their intentions to grab your attention, and it's almost unfair, because we're just trying to make some things happen in our lives, and they're trying to take all our time. We have to be aware of that, and set our intentions beforehand, to be solid with those, and I think that that's helped me recently. So that last book of how to what to say when we talk to ourselves and how to reprogram the things that are on the top of our mind really has helped me to stay focused and still allow other things to come in and be a part of my life. It's the time management that I need to work on, and saying no and being okay with the outcome, or not attached to the outcome. That was something I learned just recently too. Is don't be attached to the outcome, and see how that helps you throughout the day with your decisions. So. But wow, yeah, it's great stuff. Who else has something they want to say?
I have something to say. I just wanted to, for those who listen to this hangout, hold on one second. Angelina, turn that off. Taking care of yourself does not make you selfish. And the guilt and the shame and the worry that, we grow up learning that we can't do something, or, I grew up putting others first. And so when I started to take care of myself, my own self. I was making myself feel guilty, shameful. I was worried what other people think. And, as you go along and you start to learn all these personal development and manifestation, law of attraction, whatever it is that you choose, you will learn that these things that you were doing, you're gonna, what's the right word? Your subconscious mind is telling your mind that it's not wrong, that it's okay for you to take care of yourself, that it's okay to not feel guilty, and it's okay to not worry about what other people think. Because if it's not making you feel good, why continue to do it? Just stop for a moment and analyze and go through what is going on in your life. Sometimes we have to make changes. It's just like, I remember a time when, taking care of the family and working and not eating. I mean, I would cook for the kids, but I wouldn't eat because I wanted them to finish, as soon as possible so I can get to the kitchen, so I could wash the dishes and take a bath. Everything was everybody else. And what happened was I ended up getting really sick, very sick, that I had to get my mother to come down and take care of my kids while I heal, because I was so busy with everyone else. So just like the book says, or even what Catherine said, it's going to stop you in your tracks if you're doing too much of one thing. And that's what happened to me. And the story with my mom, and, it's unfortunate, but, it's like in the book when it says, 9 months you're pregnant. That's all you're going to get. 9 months. That's what you need. And it took me to get sick to realize that I need to take care of myself. So I'll end it there. So one more thing before we go. With the water, when I was reading this book, this verse, it talked about water. And I started, and I wrote a blog post not too long ago. And it took me back to that post where when I need to rejuvenate, and when I need to protect myself, my energy, my spirit, I visualize water like in a tornado, and it's going around me and around me and around me and around me, and it's protecting me. Because it's not to say be panicky or anything like that, but it helped protect me and rejuvenate the energy that I need to continue what my purpose is. So that's what I thought about when I was reading this book with the water.
I know we're at the top of the hour. I'll just throw in one last thing here. Keep the end goal in mind. Every book we've studied pretty much has said this. If you think all those things and getting all that stuff done today is going to make you happy, just be happy now and save yourself a lot of time. Have a great week. Thank you, everyone.
Everybody's had so many wonderful comments that Donna or Dan, did you have any final thoughts before we wrap up?
I was just gonna say, just that, got some great takeaways today out of a lot of this, and some things like never thought of water in the sense of a tornado being a calming effect or a hurricane or whatever you were talking about with water, but when I thought about it, you're in the eye of it, so like I said, you're protected by everything else around it. So yeah, it gave me a whole new picture to use for sometimes when my life gets kind of chaotic, come in, shut the door, kind of just let everything else out there be its chaotic self, and let that take care of itself, and let me just kind of be in the center where nothing's happening and rejuvenate and take that time. And I like that picture. It's a good picture, um, and I'm going to use it.
I'd like to jump out real quick and just say that when we're using balance, and I do love that analogy, just like you, Dan, as far as the water being protective protection against us in that example. Um, but I was thinking that as we're telling ourselves enough is enough, as we're putting a stop to what we're the energy we're expending for others, or to get to a place, or with our work or whatever it might be, when we're done and we do say enough is enough with that, I think it's good to remember to declare what it is that you want. Speak your vision into the world, literally. The people that are asking you to do things for them are also there to help you. They just don't know what you need or what you want. If you keep it inside, if you do all this work for everyone else, and then you go home at night and you never declared what you want out of your day or your life to anyone else, then no one will know what they can do to help you, and the universe won't know what to do or what to bring to you, and you'll keep giving and giving and giving and not getting anything in return, because we're not opening up that pathway for it to come back to us. So that's my final thought, and I really love being here. Thanks a lot, guys. Great to see you again.
I just think everybody might want to just go Google Humpty Dumpty, that little fairy tale. It might help you out a little bit there. That's seriously. I mean, if we'll just take the time to just rest in ourselves and rest in our spirit, you'll be surprised. I don't know when I ever thought of Humpty Dumpty, but there you go. Google it. I'm going to do it when I get off here. I'm going to go find me that little fairy tale. Yeah. Have a good day, everybody. Enjoyed it.
Thanks for that, Donna. And that's a good point with a lot of the fairy tales that we used to be told, or fables, like Aesop's fables. We've all heard those stories, and it was always some kind of a really important lesson that we were taught when we were children. And when we think back on it, particularly when we study books like this as adults, we realize those lessons that they were actually trying to teach us when we were younger, right? But kind of like what is it, the tortoise and the hare, the tortoise, he's just taking his time and smelling the roses along the way, and the hare's going 900 miles an hour, and who ends up winning the race? It was the tortoise, because the hare ended up wearing himself out, right? But you guys had some awesome tips today, and so many great insights. Thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with us. And Karen, thank you so much for adding your comments on the page. Before we wrap it up, I just want to say thanks to everybody for hanging out with us, and you can meet us again every week at SaturdayMorningMastermind.com. Please like our YouTube video, or subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Google+, and follow us on Twitter, wherever you can find us, and we're happy to have you guys participate in the conversation. And if you'd like to jump on here and be live with us on the panel and actually be a part of the live conversation, then just hit me up on Facebook and let me know you'd like to participate. We'd love to have you. So with that, guys, have a great, awesome, amazing weekend, and we'll see you again here next week at the SaturdayMorningMastermind.com. And that's it. Bye for now.